Squad member Cori setting off a new controversy as people across the nation celebrated Independence Day. The Missouri Congresswoman tweeted this, quote, "When they say that the 4th of July is about American freedom, remember this. The freedom they're referring to is for white people. This land is stolen and black people still aren't free." Congressman Byron Donalds is a member of the Freedom Force, the GOP counterpoint to the Squad. He joins me now. Congressman, hope you had a safe and wonderful 4th of July. Want to get your reaction to your colleague's tweet.
My reaction is I just shake my head and move on. What Cori tweeted was ridiculous. First of all, yes, July 4th, Independence Day, is to celebrate the freedom of this nation from British tyranny. That is the purpose of the celebration. We should all celebrate that. But number two, black people are free in America. That is what has happened since 1865. That is the state of play in 2021 America. So I look at her tweet, I shake my head, I don't agree. And to be truthful, most black people just don't agree with that. And most people don't agree with that. We live in the greatest country in the world. More black people have accomplished and achieved more wealth here in the United States than any other country in the world. We should actually celebrate that and celebrate, frankly, the birth of the greatest nation man's ever known.
Congressman, it is certainly divisive, those sorts of comments. Does the vice president or other leaders have a responsibility to push back on her tweet? I mean, after all, the vice president of the United States is African American, so how can she say that black people still are not free?
I agree with you. I think that they should ask her. They should ask her about what Cori said. They should ask President Biden about what Cori said. You know, I find it interesting that Republicans are always having to answer questions about what one of our members said. They should be having to answer questions about what Cori said yesterday. Everybody knows it is outlandish. It is ridiculous. That tweet just makes no sense at all. It flies in the face of the reality that the vast majority of Americans, frankly, all Americans, see every single day.
This is not her first controversy. Back in May, she called mothers birthing people, and in June called for reparations. Is she and her squad a problem for Democrats, in your opinion, come November 2022?
Oh, yeah, big time. They are a big problem. The Democrats know this. That's why they're starting to pull back off of some of this rhetoric, because they know that independent voters and yet even Democrat voters don't support this kind of stuff. What most people want in our country is to have a free country, which we already have, where people live in harmony and peace, which we already do have right now. That's what people want. They want a nice tax environment. They want their kids to be able to grow up and learn and be educated appropriately. They don't want to constantly live in this divisive environment. And so I think that Cori's comments and the comments of her colleagues in the squad definitely hurt Democrat prospects in about 18 months.
When you're not on television with us, when she's not on Twitter, when you're just by yourselves behind closed doors in Capitol Hill or in the Capitol itself, do you ever talk to her? Do you ever address her and say, this isn't helping the problem in America with bringing people together?
No, we actually don't talk that much. We see each other now and again in the halls. You know, we're cordial, say hello, see how things are going. But we never really had an opportunity to get into that deep of a conversation. Maybe we should, because for the life of me, I'm even trying to understand where stuff like this thought process even comes from. Because in our normal, ordinary lives, whether it's school, whether it's sports, you know, whether it's trying to get a job, whether it's moving through your career, we are free to do those things. Her connotation of what she's saying is that people are still in chains. It's just not true. Like, it's not true. Factually. Look at your life. Look around you. You're a congresswoman in the United States, for God's sake. Come on, let's be honest.
Congressman, just in the 30 seconds we got left, I do want to get you on one other issue, that is critical race theory. We've been talking about it for weeks now. The NEA conveying its support for it. Do you think that is a bad mistake?
Of course, but the NEA always makes bad mistakes. That's why nobody listens to them, except for the people who try to follow the union line. Listen, to the parents of America, the NEA only cares about the union. They don't even really care too much about the teachers. And anything that empowers the union is what they are focused on. Parents need to be focused on what their kids are learning. They need to keep pressure going towards these school districts, because they will listen to the parents as long as the parents are there talking. Don't let the union take back control of these schools. It's that simple.
Congressman Byron Donalds, thank you for taking time. Happy July 5th. Have a great day.